Hello friends, welcome to Beast Recap. I'm your host. Loki was arrested by the TVA organization because Loki breaks the rules of Holy Timeline. Then TVA turned the Loki into their agent to help them to catch another offender, who is the biggest threat to the TVA. But Loki joins together with that offender, and they both now going for a person who created the TVA. Today the television series I'm going to explain is a Loki, Season 1, Episode 1, Action, Adventures and Fantasy TV series from 2021. Episode 1, New York City 2012, at the Avengers Tower. The Avengers minus the Hulk tail Loki and the Tesseract down the elevator to the lobby. The future Ant-Man and Tony Stark try to steal the Tesseract, and it ends up knocked over by Loki. Loki grabs it and teleports away. Loki appears in midair and then falls, landing on the Gobi Desert's sand. When other tribesmen from the area approach him, Loki stands up on a rock outcropping and identifies himself. Then three-time Variance Authority police officers known as Minutemen enter the scene through a vortex that opens. They find the nearby Tesseract, and Loki approaches and warns them not to touch it. When Hunter B-15, another cop, enters the scene, he identifies Loki as a variant. B-15 arrests Loki on behalf of the TVA for crime against the sacred timeline. Loki is unimpressed and tells them that they have one final chance. B-15 uses her baton to hit him in the mouth, slowing him to 1/16th speed, and then collars him. When Loki falls, the officers pick him up, and B-15 tells the other officer to reset the timeline, as he plants a reset charge and activates it. B-15 picks up the Tesseract and takes Loki to the TVA base. Loki tries to flee, but B-15 uses a remote control and the collar it manages to return Loki to his original position. When he tries to flee once more, but B-15 takes him back again. B-15 instructs Casey, a clerk of B-15, to introduce the Tesseract as proof. Loki tells Casey to be careful with the Tesseract as B-15 leads him off and shoves him into a cell with a robot. When Loki's Asgardian clothing is destroyed by the robot, a trapdoor lowers him into an office below. While wearing a gray jail jumpsuit, Loki is shoved a stack of paperwork by a desk-bound employee who asks him to check it against everything Loki has ever said. When Loki eventually signs and exits by a different trapdoor, a clerk wants Loki to confirm that he is an organic entity with a soul. Once Loki does, the clerk instructs him to walk through an archway that, if he were a robot, would melt him from the inside. An image of Loki's temporal aura is captured by the archway, and a guard instructs Loki to take a ticket. There's one other prisoner there who came at the same time as Loki, and Loki accepts the ticket at the guard's instruction. An animated presentation with Miss Minutes informs Loki that he is at the TVA, and that it is her job to catch up with Loki before he gets punished for his crimes as he passes through the barricades. She explains that there was a multiversal war and hundreds of warring timelines, and then three timekeepers rearranged the cosmos into a single timeline known as the Sacred Timeline. The timekeepers now maintain the correct flow of time for everyone and everything, but some individuals, such as Loki, deviate from the planned course. They cause a nexus event that might result in another multiversal war. The TVA was developed by the timekeepers to deal with variations and return time to its correct path. Since the variant doesn't have a place in the timeline anymore, they have to stand trial for their offenses. The other prisoner protests, and a guard disintegrates him since he does not have his ticket. Loki gives his instantly. In 1549, TVA agent Mobius investigates several dead Minutemen in a church in the French province of Aix-en-Provence. Mobius receives information from another Minuteman that they were murdered when they arrived to look into a Nexus event. Mobius observes that the reset charge is gone, and the stabbed wounds on the deceased Minutemen are consistent with the others. A Minuteman notes that it's sixth attack in the past week, and a little local boy enters. Mobius approaches the boy and asks him if he saw who killed the Minutemen. The boy points towards a next-to-painted window showing the devil. Mobius responds that the devil is scared of them, and that they'll return the boy to his own place. Mobius inquires as to the cause of the boy's blue-tinted teeth when he smiles. In response, the boy pulls out a stick of blue gum, and Mobius understands the devil must have given it to him. The Minuteman warns Mobius that they must go since the timeline is about to reach its red line. As the Minutemen set a reset charge, Mobius orders the boy to go outside. A clerk then portals in and presents Mobius the file on Loki, saying that Mobius will want to see it. Loki is brought into court by B-15, where Judge Ravana Renslayer says to Loki that he is accused of several sequence crimes. Loki says that a god doesn't plead, and says that the Avengers are the ones who traveled through time. Mobius enters and sits down as Loki asks Ravana to give him a task force to go after the Avengers. Ravana says that according to the Timekeepers, what the Avengers did was what was supposed to happen, and Loki escaping was not. Loki asks that he needs to talk with the Timekeepers, but Ravana says that they are busy with dictating the proper flow of time. When Loki tries to teleport away, he finds that his powers are not working. Ravana tells him that magic powers don't work in the TVA, finds him guilty, and sentences him to be reset. As Minutemen take Loki away, Mobius approaches the bench. Ravana warns Mobius that what he is thinking about is a bad idea and that if anything goes wrong, it is his responsibility. Loki goes with Mobius to his office via a balcony which looks out over the magnificent TVA facility. Mobius then introduces himself as they go down in a lift. Mobius explains that he is taking Loki to a place where they can talk because they both know how much Loki enjoys doing it. After obtaining a baton from a security guard, Mobius leads Loki inside his office. Loki tries to attack Mobius, but Mobius uses a remote control to teleport Loki back to his starting point. Loki is asked to sit down by Mobius, who then explains he specializes in pursue dangerous variants, and he say that Loki is not one of them. Mobius might be able to offer Loki what he wants if Loki provides him with truthful answers to his queries. Starting with his first questions, Mobius asks Loki his first question: what would he do if he gets returns? Loki says that he wants to take back his throne, which makes Mobius wonder why someone with so much range just wants to rule. Then Mobius plays a film of some of Loki's greatest hits. The agent points out that Loki loses a lot for someone who was born to rule. It might even be in his nature. When Loki notes that he killed Coulson, Mobius reminds him that the Avengers united together to avenge Coulson's death at Loki's hands. When Mobius asks about Loki's enjoyment of causing harm on others, Loki responds that he is a liberator. The agent says that Loki is good at doing awful things and getting away, and plays a film of Loki posing as Mr. Cooper, a passenger on a jetliner, hijacking the plane. Jumping out with a bag of money, and Loki is teleported away by Heimdall as he falls. Disgusted by the talk, Loki tries to leave, but Mobius rewinds him back into his chair. When Loki asks Mobius what he wants, Mobius responds that he wants Loki to be honest about the reasons for his actions. Unimpressed, Loki says that the TVA is an illusion conjured by the weak to inspire fear. He says that his decisions are entirely his own, and Mobius plays Loki a video showing him in Berlin dominating a throng. Loki insists that he has ultimate power as a result of what he did, not because it was planned or because the TVA led it to occur. He dismisses the TVA as a footnote in his ascent. Mobius explains that if Loki hadn't reacquired the Tesseract, he would have been taken to a cell on Asgard. The TVA agent reveals that it is able to predict Loki's future, and in the movie, it shows Loki's mother Frigga approaching him before Loki orders the Dark Elves to kill her. Loki says that Mobius is lying, but Mobius answers that it is the natural progression of time and that it occurs repeatedly. He asks again if Loki enjoys hurting people, and Loki throws his chair at him in fury. Loki moves by Mobius back to his chair, but as it isn't there, he falls to the ground. Then he tells Loki that he was created to bring about death, misery, and pain, and that this will always be the case in order for people to become the best versions of themselves. As Mobius helps Loki in standing, B-15 enters and queries what the man is doing. Mobius says that he is carrying out his duties, and she says that a situation exists. Loki is instructed to remain still, and the agent leaves with B-15. Outside, B-15 tells Mobius that speaking with the variant is a mistake. When Mobius returns inside after hearing that they've lost another Minutemen unit, he finds that Loki has escaped and taken the time rewinder control from him. When Loki gets back to the area where he was, he sees Casey carrying a car. Loki is sought after by Mobius, B-15, and a group of Minutemen. Loki sneaks into the room where Casey's desk is located, grabs the employee, and throws him to the ground. When Loki instructs Casey to give the Tesseract, Casey takes it out of his desk drawer and gives it to him. The drawer also contains a number of Infinity Stones, and when Loki notices them, Casey informs him that they get a lot of them and some of the employees use them as paperweights. Loki is shocked and wonders if the TVA is the most powerful force in the cosmos. As B-15 enters, Loki twists himself away using the twister, B-15 and her men keep looking for Loki. Loki returns to the office and fast-forwards through his life till Frigga got dead. He then discovers his future when he and Thor meet Odin before moving on to the point where he and Thor team together. Then, Loki acts out the moment when Thanos kills him. When the movie is over, Loki chuckles, and B-15 enters to ask as to what he finds so humorous. When B-15 is attacked, she quickly puts him in an arm hold. Loki uses the remote to remove the collar, put in on B-15, and rewind her repeatedly so she never touches him. Finally, Loki rewinds her out of the room. 2 Minutemen are informed by Casey of his encounter with Loki. Before them, B-15 appears and storms away in disgust. When Mobius enters his office again, he informs Loki that there is nothing else for him to flee. Loki figures that he can't go back to his timeline, and says that he doesn't enjoy hurting people but he does it because he has had to. It's a desperate attempt to gain control and a part of the delusion. Mobius says that he doesn't see Loki as a villain since he believes that Loki is aware of himself. Mobius says he can provide Loki with something better than salvation after Loki points out that the Tesseract is useless in the TVA. He reveals that the Minutemen are being killed by a variant, and he wants Loki's help to stop that variant. Loki questions why he is there, and Mobius tells him that the variant they're hunting is Loki. In 1858, a group of Minutemen show up in a field in Salina, Oklahoma. There's a sword driven into the ground, and the Minutemen confirm that it's anachronistic. They set a reset charge to prune the chronology because there is oil on the ground. A few hundred feet distant away, one of them notices the cloaked variant. He drops a lamp to the ground, which explodes and ignites the oil. The variant takes up the reset charge after the Minutemen are set on fire and killed, and this is the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want the recap of all episodes, playlist link in description, go and check it out. And how was the episode 1? Comment below if you like this video. Smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe my channel, and don't forget to follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. Link in description. And if you want any other movie recap video, comment below and I'll see you in the next awesome recap video. Until that, have fun guys.